The engines have finally gone silent in Sahir.
Yeah, the desert dust is officially settling.
The garage doors are coming down, but let me tell you, the alarms are ringing so loud for some teams that I am honestly surprised we can't hear them all the way here in the studio.
Oh, absolutely. And then on the other side of the paddock, the champagne is practically on ice already.
It is insane. Welcome to this deep dive on the DRS zone. I am your host, and I'm here with our resident technical analyst. We're diving right into it.
Hey everyone, we just wrapped up day 3, the absolute final day of preseason testing for 2026. And usually at this point, we're the ones saying, don't read too much into it.
It's just testing.
Right, it's just testing. But this year,
Yeah.
looking at the telemetry, looking at the long-run data, this year feels totally different.
It really does.
The data isn't just whispering, man. It is screaming at us.
Preseason is dead. We are officially 2 weeks away from the Australian Grand Prix, and the pecking order hasn't just been shuffled, it has been thrown into a blender and hit with a sledgehammer.
Violently shuffled.
We aren't here to be polite today for you guys. We are here to dissect who is actually ready to fight and who is, well, already looking at a DNF before the lights even go out in Melbourne.
It's going to be a brutal reality check for some. We've got Ferrari looking like they've dropped a nuclear weapon on the timing sheets.
A literal nuke.
We have a historic meltdown happening at Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And Williams.
Oh, man, Williams.
Yeah, Williams seems to have built a tank instead of a race car.
A tank is putting it lightly, but we are definitely going to get to that mastodon later. I want to start with the noise everyone is making. The kings of winter.
Ferrari.
Charles Leclerc is the winter champion. He clocked a 1.31.992 on the C4 tire. He is the only driver to break the 1.32 barrier.
It's hard to look anywhere else right now, it really is.
But play devil's advocate for me here. We see this every few years, right? Ferrari wins winter, everybody gets hyped up, the Tifosi go crazy, and then Red Bull just crushes them in race 1.
Yeah, the classic Ferrari hype train.
Exactly. Was this just a glory run? Did they just drain the fuel to vapor to sell some merchandise?
See, that is the scary part for the rest of the grid. No, it didn't look like a glory run at all. Usually when you see a lap that fast in testing, you see the car twitching. It's on the ragged edge. Or you see the sector times drop off at the end because the tires are completely cooked.
Right, they're sliding everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the SF
Word, the turbino.
It's a turbino, yeah.
It sounds like a specialized coffee order or something, but it's evidently a massive engineering gamble. What is actually going on with this engine?
This is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Ferrari has taken a huge gamble with their engine architecture for 2026. They've gone for a significantly smaller turbocharger. The turbino, as the Italian press has dubbed it. Now, we need to go back to basic physics here for a second. A turbocharger works by spinning a turbine to force air into the engine, right? A massive turbo takes a split second to spin up. That is your turbo lag.
Right. You hit the gas and wait a beat.
Exactly. But a smaller turbo has way less inertia. It spins up much, much faster.
So you reduce the turbo lag, you hit the pedal, and the power is just instant.
Precisely. You get immediate throttle response.
Yeah.
But usually there's a massive penalty for that. A small turbo usually runs out of breath at high speeds. It clips. Yeah, it spins so fast it becomes inefficient at the top end of the long straights. That is why most teams avoid it like the plague. But Ferrari seems to have somehow solved that efficiency loss.
Wow.
They are getting the brutal acceleration out of the slow corners without paying the penalty at top speed.
And we saw the proof of that in the practice starts, didn't we?
Oh, we absolutely did. There was this moment where Leclerc and George Russell in the Mercedes did a practice start side by side.
Yeah, I saw that clip.
Leclerc was starting from a simulated 5th place grid slot, and he was beating Russell to turn 1 from a row back.
That is huge. If you can jump a row of cars just on reaction time and sheer torque,
it changes the entire race strategy. Think about Melbourne for you guys listening. It's a street circuit, right? It has a stop-start nature.
Yeah.
Lots of traction zones out of slow corners. If Ferrari can launch off the line like a rocket, they could decide the race before the pack even reaches the first corner. They have an inherent mechanical advantage in acceleration.
That honestly gives me goosebumps, but they aren't the only ones looking strong. We have to talk about the chasing pack. McLaren and Red Bull are lurking right there in the shadows, but they seem to be playing a completely different game to Ferrari.
They definitely are. And honestly, looking at the data, I think Red Bull is perfectly happy letting Ferrari take all the front page headlines right now.
Max Verstappen finished 3rd. He put in a 1.33.1. On paper, that's over a second slower than Leclerc. If I am a Red Bull fan, should I be sweating right now? Or is Max just playing with his food?
Never, ever bet against Max Verstappen. There was so much doubt about the new Red Bull powertrains engine coming into this year. Everyone was thinking, can they really build their own engine from scratch and beat legacy manufacturers like Mercedes and Ferrari?
Right. It's a monumental task.
But the answer appears to be a resounding yes. Their strength just isn't the 0 to 100 sprint like Ferrari. It's the energy deployment.
Okay, we hear that word deployment thrown around a lot by pundits. For you listening who might not be a race engineer, what does that actually look like on track? Why does it matter?
Good question. So deployment is how the car uses its electrical energy over the course of a single lap. You have a limited battery store, right? 4 megajoules per lap.
Okay.
If you dump it all on the main straight to go fast, you are a sitting duck in the corners because you have absolutely no boost left to pull you out of the turn. Russell even mentioned it. He said Red Bull has the best deployment on the entire grid.
So it's essentially an efficiency game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It means they can sustain top speed for longer without clipping or running out of electric boost at the very end of the straights. So while Ferrari is super punchy out of the corner, Red Bull is just relentless at the end of the straight.
Unstoppable momentum.
Yeah. Max did a race simulation that was terrifyingly consistent. Every single lap was within a tenth of a second of each other. He wasn't out there chasing headlines. He was out there chasing championships.
So while Ferrari is winning the sprint, Red Bull is clearly aiming to win the marathon. That's a fascinating clash of philosophies. And then you have McLaren, who just seem to be, well, they're just everywhere.
Reliability is the new currency in 2026. With all these new regulations, simply finishing the testing program without a tow truck is a huge victory. Lando Norris finished second fastest, but honestly, the stat that matters there is the lap count.
McLaren completed a massive 809 laps total. That is the most of anybody on the grid.
809 laps.
Yeah.
That's essentially 4 or 5 full Grand Prix distances in just 3 days. It gives them a literal mountain of data. While other teams are in the garage fixing leaks, McLaren is out there fine-tuning their setup. They might not have the flashy one-lap turbino speed of the Ferrari quite yet, but that car is bulletproof.
They know exactly what it's going to do.
Exactly. They know exactly how their tires degrade. They know exactly how their cooling works in traffic. That knowledge is absolute power in round 1.
So we have the Sprint King in Ferrari, the Endurance Monster in Red Bull, and the bulletproof tank in McLaren. It is shaping up to be a heavyweight fight at the front. But unfortunately, not everyone is ready to step into the ring.
No, they definitely are not.
Let's move to the segment I am calling the walking wounded. Because looking at Mercedes and Williams, it is just painful.
It is a stark contrast to the top 3, that's for sure.
Let's start with Mercedes. They look fast, right? Russell was 4th overall, but the car seems incredibly fragile. It's like a glass cannon.
That is the perfect analogy. You can have all the horsepower in the world, but you cannot win a title if the car is sitting on the back of a flatbed. The incident with Kimi Antonelli was the red flag, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, talk us through that. A rookie caused a red flag on the final day. Was it driver error? Did he just bin it into the wall?
No, and that is the worrying part for the team. There was a loss of hydraulic pressure leading to a total engine failure. And this wasn't just an isolated hiccup. Reports coming straight from the paddock suggest they had to change the engine twice during testing.
Twice in 3 days.
In effectively a 6-day testing window if you count the filming days. That is catastrophic. The W17 is fast, yes. Kimi and George are putting in really good lap times when the thing actually runs.
But the reliability...
Reliability issues this late in the game. That keeps engineers up at night pacing the floor. You have a very limited pool of engines for the whole season, usually 3 or 4. If you're blowing them up in preseason testing, you are going to be taking massive grid penalties by midseason.
It really feels like a false dawn for them. High risk, high reward, but right now the risk is definitely winning out. And speaking of absolute nightmares, oh boy, Williams. My heart breaks for Carlos Sainz.
It is a very difficult situation over there.
He is languishing in 10th place. And the word on the street is that the FW48 is literally being called a mastodon.
It's a heavy word for a very heavy car. The reports are suggesting the car is 20 to 25 kilograms overweight.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. 25 kilos. To a normal person you listening right now, that's like a heavily packed suitcase. In F1, isn't that basically a death sentence?
In Formula One terms, it is an eternity. The math is brutal. 10 kilograms is roughly 0.3 of a second per lap. So if they are 20-plus kilos over lap, they are losing 6 to 0.7 of a second just to fat.
Wow.
And that's before they even touch the aerodynamics or the engine modes. It's just dead weight dragging them down.
Well, that explains why Sainz is 2.3 seconds off LECLERC. But here is what I don't get, and I think a lot of you listeners might wonder this too. Why can't they just fix it? Can't they strip the paint off? Drill some holes in non-essential parts? Why is weight such a sticky problem to solve?
Because the weight isn't just bolting on a heavy seat. It is structural. It's baked into the chassis survival cell, the crash structures, the gearbox casing. The car was designed way too conservatively with too much material in the carbon weave just to ensure it passed the FIA crash test.
So it's deeply internal.
Yeah, you can't just take a screwdriver and remove it. You have to totally redesign the carbon fiber layups. You have to manufacture new molds. And then you have to pass new crash tests.
Yeah.
It takes months of development time. You're talking about a fundamental DNA problem with the car itself.
So they are effectively driving a tank until maybe the European season starts in the summer.
Exactly. Carlos Sainz left the winter champion Ferrari to drive a mastodon at Williams. That is a rough transition for him.
That is brutal. But hey, let's look at some positives. The midfield is looking incredibly spicy, and we have some new kids on the block making noise.
The midfield battle is arguably going to be as exciting as the fight at the front.
HAAS. Can we please talk about HAAS? They are flying out there. They genuinely look like the fifth best team. How on earth did they pull this off?
This actually connects right back to Ferrari. HAAS buys everything they legally can from Ferrari. The power unit, the suspension, the gearbox. Because Ferrari has totally nailed the new regulations with that compact engine, and rear-end HAAS is just drafting right behind them.
Makes sense.
They were fast over one lap, but also really stable in race trim. The smiles in that garage were genuine for once.
Good for them. And Alpine. Pierre Gasly topped the speed traps. I thought they were completely dead in the water after the management chaos last year, but they've somehow recovered.
They really have. They switched to the Mercedes power unit. And despite the factory Mercedes team having reliability issues, the raw power of that engine is clearly there. Alpine was the backmarker last year, but now they look like very solid midfield contenders. It is a massive turnaround for them.
Now, what about the rookies? We have Audi and Cadillac entering the fray. Totally new manufacturers. Usually new teams are just embarrassing in testing, are they?
Far from it, actually. That's the biggest surprise. Audi, with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto, is doing a genuinely solid job. The car is reliable. The engine works.
They are actually ahead of the established backmarkers.
They are. Bortoleto was doing lap times in the 1.33s. For a brand new team built entirely from scratch, that is a massive triumph. They aren't here to win races yet, obviously, but they are here to compete. They definitely aren't the slow class.
And Cadillac? We've got Bottas and Checo Perez driving there. American muscle in F1.
They are slower than Audi, let's just brutally honest. But the car runs. They did solid mileage, almost 600 laps total. Checo Perez actually came out and said he's happy. He feels zero pressure compared to the Red Bull pressure cooker he was in.
I bet he does.
Their goal is just to finish Australia, and right now that actually looks totally possible.
Which brings us to the segment I have honestly been dreading, but we have to do it. The total disaster.
I think I know exactly where you were going with this.
Aston Martin.
Oh boy, yeah.
I want to shift the tone here for a second because this isn't just, oh, they are a little slow. This is pure aggression and disbelief from the paddock. This car is the paperweight of the year.
It is so hard to find a silver lining here. In fact, there literally isn't one.
Let's hit you guys with the facts. Lance Stroll did 6 laps on the final day. 6.
And that brought their total for the whole test to just 334 laps. Compare that to McLaren's 8 or 9. Or even Audi, a rookie team who did 7-11. Aston Martin has done less than half the mileage of the absolute newcomers.
What is actually happening? Is it the car design? Is it the team structure? Or is it this new Honda partnership?
It is the battery.
Yeah.
The Honda battery is completely failing. And the terrifying part for them is that it's not just broken. They literally do not have spares.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How can a team with the massive budget of Aston Martin not have spare parts?
Honda admitted it to the press. The supply chain was empty. They had to park the car on the final day because they were terrified that if they ran it, they would destroy the battery and not have a functioning power unit for Australia.
You're kidding.
No, they're saving parts for the first race because they physically do not have replacements to put in the car.
That is a historical embarrassment. I am getting massive flashbacks to the McLaren Honda nightmare of 2015 GP2 engine. Remember that?
It looks exactly like that. And think about the ripple effect here. This is the key insight a lot of people miss. Because they have zero aerodynamic correlation data.
Right.
They don't know if their wind tunnel actually matches the track reality. They haven't done race runs to check tire wear. They haven't practiced pit stops under hot conditions. They have a total grenade for an engine and a car they fundamentally do not understand.
So while Ferrari is fine-tuning their turbino for a potential race win, Aston Martin is sitting in a crisis meeting trying to figure out if they can even turn the car on without it catching fire on the grid.
They are highly likely starting the season as the slowest and least reliable team. It is an absolute catastrophe for a premium brand like Aston Martin.
It's brutal. It is just brutal. Okay, let's take a breath and zoom out a bit. We've covered the kings, the chasers, the wounded, and the disaster.
It is a totally chaotic grid right now.
So to summarize, for you listening right now who's trying to figure out your fantasy F1 league picks, Ferrari looks ready to win. The hype is completely real.
Yes, they have the raw speed and that crucial start line advantage.
Red Bull and McLaren are lurking right behind. Do not count them out.
Consistency and energy management will absolutely keep him in the hunt.
Mercedes is fast but super fragile. High risk, high reward.
And Aston Martin. But maybe just don't pick him for your fantasy team this year.
Definitely leave them off the roster. Now, just a quick note before we wrap up. This segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events. We are just reporting the facts as they stand at the end of testing.
And the facts are painting a very vivid, very intense picture.
The testing clock has stopped. The lying is over. Sandbagging season is done. We are 14 days away from finding out the absolute truth.
And this raises the most important question for the next 2 weeks. We've seen the lap times, but we haven't seen the actual wheel-to-wheel racing. My final thought is this.
Let's hear it.
Ferrari has gambled on the small turbo for massive acceleration. Max Verstappen is betting on long-run efficiency. But what happens in dirty air? If Red Bull's deployment keeps them glued to Ferrari's gearbox, does that turbino overheat in the wake over 58 laps? Is raw clean air speed enough to hold off the Red Bull machine in a street fight? Or has Max just been playing with his food this whole time?
Oh, that is the ultimate question. Who is your money on for Melbourne, the winter champion in red or the reigning king in blue? We want to hear from you guys. Let us know.
It's going to be a very long 2 weeks waiting for those lights to go out.
It certainly is. But don't worry, we have got you covered every step of the way. Don't miss a single moment of the season analysis. Follow DRS Zone right now on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We are breaking down every rumor and every stat until we get to Australia.
We are just getting started.
Lights out.